Brendan Gallagher of the Montreal Canadiens has been placed on long-term injury reserve, opening up some additional opportunities for them at the NHL trade deadline. Plus, we have news from the waiver wire, a few signings, and an update on the Canucks situation as well. We'll jump into the latest coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. Now, as I mentioned, we have a variety of news topics today. Let's start here with the update of the situation in Vancouver. We had another player today added to the list of players impacted by the COVID outbreak amongst the Canucks team. That's now 21 players in total, I believe, that are impacted, and I believe there's also 3 members of the coaching staff also in that predicament as well. So that's a lot of people to keep in our thoughts here. Hopefully things don't get any worse. They can start to get better. We're looking at least a couple of weeks before they can resume playing. Probably, definitely fair to say that they're not going to be able to complete their whole schedule. So I'm not sure how that's going to work here. There was an update from BC's top doctor, Bonnie Henry, when asked about the presence of the variant strain, which is causing of this outbreak within the Canucks, and she said she was not aware of that. So it looks as though it may not be a variant that's spreading through that team. Either way, even the original strain of COVID is certainly transmissible enough and spreads quite easily. So regardless of what it is, hopefully they can start to recover and get past this. But obviously some of those variant strains were even more transmissible than the original. So obviously if that's not present, that is a little bit of a good news story and something that we're trying to put a positive spin on. But certainly, hopefully things start to get better there real soon. They can get back to playing hockey sooner than later. Now, as I mentioned, we have some other news here today. Start with the waiver wire news. So yesterday we had 2 players on waivers. We had David Cotton of the Hurricanes, which was for process of termination of contract. And we also had Kyle Rao of the Minnesota Wild. Both players, without surprise here, have indeed cleared, so nobody's claimed in that regard. And we have 3 new players on the waiver wire here today, starting with Martin Frk of the Los Angeles Kings. Frk, certainly a guy's been around the NHL now for some time. He's got one heck of a hard shot. He can really rip a slap shot for sure. He's been on record here of having one of the hardest shots in the American Hockey League, and I think if he had more of an NHL opportunity throughout his career, would certainly be known as one of the hardest shooters in the league here as well. So far this year, Frk hasn't had a ton of NHL actions, but mostly playing in the AHL. And he could possibly be an interesting piece here that you never know, might get picked up. Hard to say. The Washington Capitals will place veteran forward Richard Panik on waivers as well. This is his 2nd year in Washington. Probably a signing that the Capitals are not overly thrilled with how things have worked out. So far this year, he has 9 points in 36 games. It's been rumored that the Capitals would like to add at the deadline, preferably some insurance veteran piece in goal, maybe a depth defenseman. So this could open up some cap space, either if he's claimed or if they can bury the contract. Either way, it'll help out, opening up a little bit of room to make that happen. So Richard Panik, another interesting piece. I would think he probably clears, but you just never know. The Capitals probably don't mind either way. And we also have Nick Merkley of the New Jersey Devils, who's appeared in 13 games this year with 6 points. He's gone back and forth between the NHL level and the taxi squad numerous times. He did clear waivers back in January when things were getting underway. So obviously he's now played enough that he has to go through waivers again if they want to be able to reassign him. So usually it's 30 days or 10 games, whatever happens first between waiver stints here. So for Merkley, he's at 13 games. If they want to reassign him to the minors or to the taxi squad, he needs waivers again. So we'll see another young player who very well could get picked up. You never know, but it wouldn't be completely shocking as the trend continues here and all 3 guys on waivers continue to clear. Now, as I mentioned, we also have a few signings here today. The Buffalo Sabres have signed Linus Weissbach, who was originally a 7th-round draft pick of theirs back in 2017, has played the past 4 years in the NCAA at the University of Wisconsin. So, of course, he's done his college career and now signs his pro contract. The 22-year-old Swedish winger will have an opportunity to report to their American Hockey League affiliate here as well. And we also had a signing in Calgary, this time with another 7th rounder, this time a 2020 7th rounder, which is something you don't see very often. The odds of 7th round picks getting signed at all are actually fairly slim, but to see 2 in the same day and one that's only been drafted a short stint is a bit of a surprise, but sometimes that happens too when you get an older player that may have gone through the draft here before. So the Flames have signed Ilya Soyolov, who was playing in the KHL this past year. He's a left shot defenseman from Belarus, so he gets under contract and can now officially join the Flames organization. Now, I mentioned the other fairly significant news here today that just broke as I was starting to record this video is the Montreal Canadiens have now officially placed veteran forward Brendan Gallagher on long-term injury reserve. So they say he will be out a minimum of 6 weeks. So Gallagher will not be back throughout the regular season. He will only return when he's able to, hopefully either at the beginning or near the beginning of the NHL playoffs. So that certainly creates a problem for them, the fact that he's not going to be there. He's a very important piece for the Habs, a great veteran, plays hard, gritty, goes to the net, puts up some offensive numbers for them. So certainly that's something that they're not thrilled about, I'm sure. But at the same time, it gives them a little bit more flexibility with the NHL trade deadline approaching next Monday, April the 12th. There was a lot of speculation that Marc Bergevin and the Habs would find a way to maybe add a depth defenseman now that they've already made a deal picking up Eric Stahl in the forward group. So we'll see what they do here. This could either give them more money to add a more expensive piece on the blue line, or maybe they add another forward as insurance. I mean, they added Eric Stahl already. They have Cole Caulfield, who signed his contract coming out of college and is just starting in the AHL, so he could maybe get a call-up opportunity. They do have some guys in the taxi squad who certainly can play. I'm not sure that they're going to really rush into this too quickly, but they do have some options that they absolutely don't have to make a deal to add a forward, but none of the guys that they can put in that lineup are going to give them what Brendan Gallagher can bring. So wouldn't be shocking if Bergevin used that LTIR space to make an addition to try to, add some insurance there. So we'll see what happens. I mean, the obviously previous rumors about them wanting to add on the blue line is still a possibility. With the extra room now with his contract, if they move a player out like an Arturi Lehkonen, which has been rumored, or Victor Mete, who has been apparently requested a trade earlier this year, if they move out at least one player plus the space they have there, that could give them a fair bit of flexibility to maybe be able to add at both positions. I mean, goaltending is probably the one area that they're probably the most secure in. Obviously, I know Price technically got hurt, but that injury is not expected to be long-term. They still have Jake Allen. They still have Caden Primo. I think they're fine in goal. I don't see them going into the goalie market at all, but certainly the other two positions are something that they very well could consider. But I wouldn't be shocked if they still maybe only add on the blue line, but we'll see what Bergevin and the Habs have in store. Wouldn't be surprised to see Bergevin take one more big swing before the deadline to see how much better he can make this team before the playoffs get underway. So let me know your thoughts. What do you expect out of Montreal with the announcement here of Gallagher's injury going on LTIR? Let me know your thoughts in the comments and we'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turning on your notifications so you don't miss any future content, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.